Welcome back to the 8th concession. My name is Natalie. The 8th concession is our property here in Southern Ontario, Zone 6A. I have to get used to saying. I did check the new zoning map for Canada, and I have now been bumped up to Zone 6A, which just means we have an earlier start date, a longer growing season, and warmer temperatures, which I think a lot of people are experiencing. So when I pick plants or when I determine when I'm going to put them in the spring, now those dates have changed a little. But I'm still a little suspicious of it because Mother Nature doesn't look at the zoning map, and I always think there might be a curveball. So I think it'll take me quite some time before I start planting much earlier than I'm used to planting. Here in Southern Ontario, you have to excuse the chickens. They've had their treat, they just see me. So they just start yelling. Typically here in Southern Ontario, we always knew the Victoria Day weekend, which for us was May 24th, the May 24th long weekend, as planting weekend. And just to be safe, that's when most people plant. Here on the 8th concession, when I was Zone 5B, our last frost date was supposedly May 10th, I believe. But many years you'd get some sort of freak frost after that, so I never quite trusted it. It was fine for my cool weather crops like cabbages, onions, things like that. But for my warm weather crops, I would usually wait just to be sure. So we'll see how becoming Zone 6A changes things. I'm not sure it's going to, but we'll see. Today is an exciting day in the garden. Today I am pulling my onions. We did have some rain, which we really needed around here, even our risk of fires, and there are a lot of fires burning across Canada and probably parts of the US as well. Forest fires from this dry, hot weather we've been experiencing. And even here in our area, chickens, even here in our area, we were under a severe risk of wildfires. So people who were camping in the area could not have campfires. We were, supposed to make sure, well, we weren't going to have a fire anyway, but we weren't allowed. So it was pretty scary there for a while. But that heavy dose of rain really helped, reduce the risk. So that was good. But I let the onions dry again, well, dry in their bed. I didn't pull them for a couple of days to make sure they were dry. But we are scheduled to have perhaps a little more rain early next week. So I want to get them out today. I want to see how they're doing, and I'm pretty excited about it. I've had some problems with some of my crops, but not my onions. So as long as I haven't waited too long, they should be great. Let's have a look. This is how much things have changed in just, I think, 4 days or 5 days since I last showed you the onion beds. Isn't that crazy? So the onions have well and truly fallen over. It's time for them to come out. And I mentioned that the tomatoes had self-seeded, and I had pulled out thousands. But obviously these ones survived, and I'm actually going to let them grow because otherwise this bed would be empty. And if I get some extra tomatoes, super. And it's going to be interesting to see if these get blight as well. Right now, they look super healthy. I don't think I'm going to cage them because I have all my cages in use with the tomatoes I planted. So I think these are just going to have to tough it out as they are. But first, let's get the onions out. I'm going to start at the front with the red onions. I am thrilled with this harvest. Look at the size of these beautiful red bulbs. Now I'm going to harvest the Dutch onions. Let's see how they turned out. Wow, the Dutch onions, the Stuttgarter Riesen onions, did not disappoint. They are still really nice and firm. No rot has set in. And this has to win the prize for the biggest onion I have ever grown. Look at the size of that. So now I have to move on to the next step, and that is to get them out and drying so that they don't rot and they keep really well all winter. I'll show you how I do that. There you go. It's as easy as that. I leave them in the trays in full sun for about a week or two. After about a week, I will actually rotate them. I'll turn them over and double check that none of them are going bad. And if it's going to have a heavy frost overnight or if it's going to rain, the reason I like to put them on the trays and not just flat out on some newspaper on the ground is then I can just quickly load them up onto my wagon and take them into the garage or the red room or anywhere where they're going to be protected, because you don't want them rained on or frost on them while they're drying. So I think about 2 weeks with a turn halfway through, and they're ready to just have the outer skins, which will be dry and brittle, sort of peeled off. The long green stalks will have shriveled away. I usually just snap them off or cut them off. Or if you want to braid them, leave them on and braid your onions. Now, as I went through, you might have noticed I picked a couple out. One like this one. Let's see if that will focus. You can see that right at the center, it almost looks like it's a little bit soft. Anything that is like that or weird, I don't know what this red onion was doing. Or this one here looks like something nibbled on it. So I just have a little basket. There's not very many, but these onions I am going to take inside immediately, take the skins off, chop them, put them in a Ziploc bag and freeze them. You don't have to blanch them. You don't have to dry them. I just don't want to waste them. I don't, after I worked so hard to grow them. The one year, I think it was last year when it was super, super wet, the onions were all kind of getting too soft even as I harvested them. So I actually did that to the bulk of the onions. I had 2 great big Ziploc bags of chopped raw onions, and that was so amazing for when I was cooking throughout the winter and the spring, to just grab a scoopful and put it in to make goulash or soups or spaghetti sauce or whatever. So I don't mind doing that now. So I'm going to process these 2, 4, 6, 8 onions, and then when I flip them in about a week, if I see any others that are looking a little sketchy, I'll just pull them and immediately chop them and freeze them as well, so I don't waste anything. Curing your onions is as easy as that. Now, I don't believe the red onions are good storage onions. So once they're dry, we will probably eat them first. If I find them going soft, I'll just chop all the rest and freeze them. But I'm excited to try them. They were so big and beautiful, like they're gorgeous onions. So I'm going to make sure that I take care of them first. The Dutch onions are amazing storage onions, and if I dry them really well now in the fall, with the exception of a few that will sprout or go soft over the winter, I will have onions until next June at least. In fact, I think I still have a couple from last year in my fridge. So I have them all the way until I harvest again, and that's really amazing. Now, the best part about this is all the Dutch onions, all the yellow onions that I have there, for me, are free. Because I save my own onion seeds and plant them as onion starts, I didn't have to pay for any of these. And I'm going to do a quick calculation of the weight of them. I'm going to bring a scale out and put the trays on. Now, it will be a little out of whack because of the greenery that's still on them, but I want to get an estimate of how many pounds of onions I have harvested. I'll be right back. Okay, I did the math. I weighed each tray. So the yellow onion trays were mostly 11 pounds, except the one tray was 12 and a half pounds. And the 2 red onion trays, because they're not as full, they were 8 pounds each. One was 8.6, one was 8.1. So now, going by the prices in the grocery store, if I were to sell them by the pound, or buy them by the pound, I should say, yellow onions are going for $3 a pound. So 56 and a half pounds of yellow onions at $3 a pound is over $169. Let's round it down for the weight of the stems and the weight of the trays. Let's say $160. And then the red onions, there were a little over 16 pounds of red onions, and they're also $3 a pound, or are they $4? I think they're $3. Even at $3 a pound, that's $48. Let's round it down to $40. That's $200. I have to subtract the $3 for the red onion seeds, but I didn't use the whole package, so let's say $1. And then if we round it all out, we're going to say $200 worth of free onions. Now that is amazing. I had to water them a bit. I had to baby them a bit as I started them from seed, but nothing more than just a bit of light, heat, and water. And for that $200 worth of free groceries, you can't beat that. They are fresh. I know exactly what's been put on them, which in terms of chemicals, which is nothing. I do not use any sort of herbicides, pesticides, not even chemical fertilizers. So I know what I'm eating, and I'm saving over $200. Now that is a great hobby. Gardening that pays you to do it. I hope you found this helpful in planting your own onions and curing your own onions, and you can see how easy it is and how cost effective it is. Happy gardening. Bye for now.